Simon, thank you so much for your time. Let's start with an update on vote counting. Some states have been called. Counting is still on in some. How is it looking for both the presidential candidates?
Well, it's looking very, very tense here, Clement, in all regards. I mean, first of all, with regards to where we stand. When vote counting ended in many of these states last night and polling workers were sent home, Joe Biden was still ahead of Donald Trump in the Electoral College. Remember that curious institution that sits between the voters and the presidency. One of these two candidates needs to reach 270 delegates in the Electoral College, and Joe Biden is currently closer to that goal than Donald Trump. But everything is going to hinge on the outcome of 4 states that have yet to finalize their vote counts. They are Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. If Joe Biden can win 2 of those, he can win the presidency. If he loses 3 of them, Donald Trump emerges victorious and secures 4 more years in the White House. But the spanner that has been thrown in the works of all of this, quite deliberately by President Trump, has been the president's declaration that he's the winner and that there's no need to carry on counting the votes. He's already sure that he's won, and not only does he argue there is no need to carry on counting the votes, he argues that that process is inherently fraudulent, with no factual support for that claim, and he wants the Supreme Court now to intervene and terminate the vote counting. Joe Biden, as you know, said that every single vote must be counted. You would never have imagined we would find ourselves in a situation in the United States where that concept, every vote needs to be counted, was even vaguely controversial.
And I'm probably wrong here, Simon, to refer to Trump as a presidential candidate. He has declared early victory, as you say. He believes he's past that stage of being a candidate. How has the reaction been to that unprecedented address? I saw you tweet earlier that what Trump did is essentially take the U.S. down an extremely dangerous constitutional path.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The constitutional mettle of this country, which has already been pretty severely tested by President Donald Trump over the last 4 years, is now going to face a test that I think none of us could ever previously have envisaged, because a president of the United States who refused at any point over the last few weeks to stipulate that he would accept the outcome of the election if he lost and engage in the peaceful transfer of power, the fundamental foundation enshrined in the American Constitution, the peaceful transition. When you lose an election fair and square, you leave the White House. That president is now insisting, again, with no evidence whatsoever, that the electoral process is inherently fraudulent, and that his supporters, more than 60 million voters, are going to be disenfranchised if Joe Biden wins this election. Now, that is potentially going to lead to the kind of civil upheaval and disquiet that businesses and shops and offices in Washington, D.C. and New York and Chicago and other cities have been bracing for. That's why they boarded their buildings up. We are moving into seriously dangerous constitutional waters here. Look, it's perfectly possible they carry on counting the votes and Donald Trump wins. But you're never going to know who's won if you don't count the votes. And one has to be suspicious of the candidate who says, I've won, and now we need to stop counting the votes, because why would he be saying that if he'd really won? He wouldn't be afraid of the vote count.
Yeah, certainly. Look, we'll see how things develop there, Simon. He says it was fraud. He wants to approach the Supreme Court, and we'll look at what the consequences are really going forward, especially for the announcement of those election results. Simon Marks, thank you so much for your time. Live to us from Washington.